Hey crew, yes, what you're watching is every Grandmaster Champion getting just falconed straight to the... Well, you fill in the blank there. But seriously, I probably had the most fun I have ever had in Grandmasters yesterday because I actually felt like a guardian using this build and setup and was not scared to be in the thick of things in the most difficult activity in the game. The gameplay you are watching is of 4 different Grandmasters, and I want to make that clear because it does not matter whether it has Void Burn or not. Either way, you are still one-shotting everything and it feels absolutely amazing. We make sure we are applying enough damage between our shoulder charge and a few things we add to it to send it over the top, but on the other hand, we have to make sure that our survivability is up there because what's the point if you can't survive? So we're stacking a bunch of different things to make sure that our survivability goes up through the roof, and a nice part about it is that it's all in general gameplay loop, so pretty easy to understand and execute it. I've never felt more like a Titan than yesterday in Grandmasters, and thank you so much to Rob, Kells, Legend, and Jungle for the runs. It was absolutely awesome. If you guys enjoyed this video or found it helpful, then make sure to hit that subscribe button for me and become part of the crew here. Also, for my regular viewers, if you could let this video play out once until the end, that goes such a long way in supporting the channel and helping me out. So thank you so much if you do so. I really appreciate it. Okay, so the name of the game is Shoulder Charge, and we need to beef this bad boy up to make sure it does the damage we need. Overload champions and barrier champions are very easy because they don't even need to be stunned when running this setup. That's how strong it is. In fact, we didn't even bring a single barrier champion mod because we never needed to stun them, which allowed us to run a primary weapon for unstoppable or overload and a special weapon of our choice to make sure we match our shields or deal with adds. So that's a really nice thing about this setup. Unstoppable champions, however, do have to be stunned before you shoulder charge them because their health pool is just too big when not stunned, and sometimes I wouldn't even one-shot them, and that's because this weird interaction that's happening with like a second stun on an unstoppable and maybe stasis affecting it. So the best way to deal with an unstoppable is just to stun them and then shoulder charge them and finish them off with a finisher if need be. But in the gameplay, you see how I one-shot them sometimes and other times I didn't. Not sure if it's interaction with stasis or my Paragon Greaves weren't procced, some different things like that, but that's okay. We can just finish them off or just use a finisher within the subclass that makes us invisible, a few different things that we're adding to it. So let's jump into the Titan subclass here and see how we're adding some extra damage and survivability to this build. Now for our aspects, these are very important. Offensive Bulwark. While you have an Overshield or Inside Ward of Dawn, your grenade charges significantly faster, you have increased melee, range, and damage, and melee final blows extend the duration of your overshield. So the main part about this is when we get our overshield, we get an increased grenade charge, which we're using suppressor grenades, so it helps control adds, and we're going to use our fragment of undermining, so it weakens enemies. So we always have this grenade up, which is very nice. But second here is it increases melee damage. So we need to have that overshield to add that melee damage we need. Now we're running this with Bastion as the second aspect here, and this is what keeps that overshield up all the time. Casting your barricade grants overshield to yourself and nearby allies and empowers it, enabling it to slowly regenerate the overshield of allies bunkering behind it and extend their overshield duration as well. So we pop this to always have our overshield that we can go shoulder charge anything with. So we want to always have a shield available. Now for our fragments, we're using Echo of Undermining. Your void grenades weaken targets. This is great because we're using suppression grenades, so we're suppressing targets. We're also weakening them, and we're getting it back very fast because we always have an overshield. For our second fragment, we're using Echo of Persistence. Void buffs apply to you. Invisibility, Overshield, and Devour have increased duration. This bumps our overshield up to 15 seconds. It's very nice because it allows us to get around the map, get around an area, right, if we need to better position ourselves for that for that shoulder charge. So we have this overshield lasting 15 seconds, which is great. And then we also have Echo of Obscurity. You could trade this one in and out if you want. I found it very useful though because finisher final blows grant invisibility. So if I did leave an unstoppable, one shot, I could just finish them. And when I finish them, I go invisible, I'm safe, I can get out, and that invisibility lasts about, I think it was like 8 or 9 seconds because of Echo of Persistence, with invisibility lasting longer. Okay, let's go over the exotics now, and then we'll do the mods after that, but pay attention to the mods because there are some that add some great survivability to this build. So don't miss those and pay attention. Now, the exotic of choice is Monte Carlo. That's our primary. Now, basically what this does is dealing damage with this weapon reduces your melee cooldown and grants a chance to fully charge your melee ability with each kill. We're using this just to top off our melee all the time. That's how you see us shoulder charge back to back to back on like 2 or 3 different champions. For our exotic of choice, we're using Peregrine Greaves, of course, the Falcon. All right, so the armor perk here is all shoulder charge abilities, Seismic Strike, Hammer Strike, or Shield Bash, deal bonus damage when activated in the air. So we're always flying around in the air and shoulder charging things. So you want to make sure that you have Peregrine Greaves procced. So the damage boost that you're getting here is 1 from Peregrine Greaves and 2 from your Overshield from within your subclass. So my 2 teammates were running the Duskfield build with the new Renewal Grasp that I have done a build and went over. I will link that build down in the pinned comment for the Duskfield build if you guys have not seen it. That's what my 2 teammates are running. That's where you see Duskfields coming down everywhere. Now those Duskfields add to our survivability as well with Renewal Grasp, right? We're getting a ×2 resist while we're within that Duskfield, and enemies do less damage when they're within the Duskfield, and they're just freezing everything. So it's really helping for the crowd control and allowing me as the Titan to move around freely with my Overshield and not losing that Overshield to enemies because everything is just frozen in place. Now to even add more survivability on top of that, we are doing a few different things with our mods, okay? So first off, on our helmet, we're running Elemental Time Dilation. I also have a resilience mod in all my slots because I want to have 100 resilience here to always have that barricade available to make sure I always have an Overshield. But what Elemental Time Dilation does is it grants you time-limited benefits can now stack, increasing the duration of the effect for each copy of the mod you have equipped. So what we're doing is I'm running Melee Wellmaker. Every time I shoulder charge and get a kill, which is all the time, I'm proccing Melee Wellmaker and I'm creating a Void Well. I'm picking that well up and I'm using it with a Well of Tenacity. Picking up a Void Elemental Well reduces the damage you take from combatants for a short period of time. This is a 50% damage reduction. This stacks on your Overshield. Okay, so when you get shot and you have an Overshield and Well of Tenacity is procced, you get a 50% damage reduction to the Overshield as well as your health, right? So it works with the Overshield and in tandem with that. On our chest piece, I had Sniper Resistance or Concussive Dampener, and then I also have Thermoshock Plating to get another 25% damage reduction to Solar and Arc enemies. But that Well of Tenacity is lasting for about 9 seconds with Elemental Time Dilation. So it's allowing me to go in shoulder charge. When I shoulder charge, I'm getting that damage reduction. I can also finish something to go invisible, and I can get out with my Overshield and have a barricade up to proc another Overshield. On the boots, I'm running heavy-handed because while charged with light, regain half of your melee energy when you use a charged melee. This is always proccing because I have elemental charge on my class item, which I'm becoming charged with light when I shoulder charge something and pick up the well. So it's a very easy thing. Shoulder charge. You pick up a void well, you become charged with light, and you get your damage reduction for 10 seconds. Next shoulder charge that you use, you're getting half of it back all the time because of heavy-handed on your boots, and then you're ×2 charged with light because you get 2 stacks from elemental charge, so you're always charged with light. We also have overload grenades on our class item. We have energy vampirism, gain energy for your least charged ability when you suppress a target. This is how I can cycle through grenades very quickly because I'm suppressing targets. It's giving me about 50% back to my grenade instantly, and then I have utility kickstart. When your class ability energy is fully expended, you gain class ability to make sure I always have that barricade up. And then one other thing on my gauntlets, I was using grenade kickstart to add a little extra grenade refund when I'm throwing that grenade. So I throw my suppressor grenade, proc grenade kickstart, and then energy vampirism kicks in because I am suppressing something and I'm getting about 50% of my grenade back instantly and getting that grenade back very quickly because of the overshield I always have. So that's basically the build. You can run whatever secondary and heavy that you want to run with this setup. Also, check out my Sweet Sorrow here because this is what the new Nightfall Memento looks like on a Sweet Sorrow. I think that looks pretty cool personally. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments. I will answer them for you. There's a full build pic within the video too, so you guys can screenshot that and keep it. And make sure if you have any questions on the Duskfield builds, go down to the pinned comment, click on that Duskfield video and go watch it if you want some teammates to run it for you, right? I highly suggest doing that. So guys, hope you found it helpful. If you're still watching, thank you so much for watching. There's a few videos up on screen you can give a watch. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll look forward to seeing you guys in the next video.